Alright guys, here's the haul thus far this month. What's today? September the 7th. Basically I took a couple of PlayStation games to a pawn shop in Tazewell, Virginia, and ended up trading them for a stack of Treasury editions. Some are in better shape than others and stuff, no biggie. And also went to the Hillsville Flea Market. It's that time of year, holiday weekend, where they turn the town into a flea market. I'll go ahead and tell you, man, usually I can work my way through that entire flea market, I don't know, 3.5, 4 hours, and I was there about 5 hours and maybe did 3/4 of it, and I just wasn't feeling it, didn't get a whole lot of stuff. But I still got some pretty good stuff. And then before I get into all that, I want to push a book here, man. Actually, one of my friends wrote this. Somebody who I met at a company I worked for over, I mean, I don't know how long ago it was. I was there for 14 years, left for 6. Now I'm back there. And in that time, he ended up taking an hour a day during his lunch break and wrote this book, because in the business that we're in, we're like a community service board. You know, we're a nonprofit state organization and stuff. But anyway, you do a lot of traveling, like to Richmond and to training stuff. And with all the news with ISIS and stuff that was going on, and with the traveling he was doing, he actually kind of took a slice of life from the people like us that work for this company, and have us on one end of Virginia going all the way out to like Richmond or Virginia Beach. What would happen if ISIS did a, I'm not quite sure, I'm not going to give it away, but basically it's considered post-apocalyptic, because with all the terrorist actions, they end up stop selling gas and stuff. Now he's got to get back home to his family with some of those people that work there. And it's called The Borrowed World. Now, you can get it on Amazon and download and stuff like that. And I think it's really cool that one of my friends wrote a book. And anybody that's watched my channel for over these years know how I feel about post-apocalyptic stuff, which it just amazes me, right? So anyway, his name is Frank Horton, The Borrowed World. I've read the reviews. I've looked on Goodreads and read some of the reviews. People on Goodreads are a little bit harsh here and there, but like 98% of the reviews there are awesome. And on Facebook, I got him. Every now and then he publishes an email or something about people talking about their book and how it gets them thinking and stuff, right? So it's called The Borrowed World. Okay, check that out. Anyway, now to the comics, okay? First thing I'll show, we'll just work backwards from this month. I'm not going to call this a Holy Grail book, but this is one of those books I've always wanted, and it's always eluded me. I get sniped on eBay. The closest and I've looked for years for this, right? And usually it's just been priced outrageously or something going on, considering the condition it was in. The closest I came to it, I was at some comic book shop. Oh my gosh, I can't remember where. Maybe Knoxville, Tennessee, or something a couple years ago. And I had this on top of the stack of books I was going to buy. I found it for a really good price, and when I went to get my stack, I turned around and looked. It was gone. I looked up, and there was some guy sitting there paying for it. He had taken it from my stack. So anyway, I paid $5 for this. This is Superman number 202 from the early 60s, the Silver Age, 80-page giant, Tales of the Bizarro World. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know about the first feature, but you know, a lot of them are just, you know, reprints of these 80-page giants. But you know, I'm a sucker for that Silver Age Superman stuff. You know, Krypton seemed to be a swinging place, and then of course you had Bizarro, and this is, to me, this is the pure Bizarro. And how, you know, this is the story I can't wait to read. You know, Bizarro meets Frankenstein. You know, so I cannot wait. Awesome. All right. Found an issue of Plop, a little Bronze Age stuff. Sergio Aragonis goodness, Basil Wolverton art. Kind of like, you know, DC taking a stab of sort of underground comics that were going around there at the time. And and it has a host in it, you know, Cain and Abel and maybe Eve are hosts. And I've always had a fascination with Cain ever since I was a kid, and it was because of these plot books that my dad or my stepdad or my uncle had or something like that. And then when he popped up in the Sandman with Neil Gaiman's Sandman, and all these characters came back, you know, being treated seriously in issue 2 of the Sandman, that's what, you know, that's when Sandman popped for me, you know. So yeah, it got me a little plop there. And you know, little, if you don't know who Basil Wolverton is, you kind of might want to look him up. Guy's drawings were definitely ahead of his time, considering he was drawing really close to this style, like in the 40s and stuff. All right, and then I've heard about this book. Okay, I've heard about this book, and I was talking to one of my friends on Facebook. I don't know if he wants me to use his real name. I can't. I think he's Lukewarm Water 68 on YouTube. But apparently he's got the other one of these, like the summer fun special of this. But I was joking around, but I've heard people in back alleys talk about this, and sailors who they all have a hand missing or a peg leg or an eye or something like that. So apparently this thing did exist, man. But this came out like I think in 1987, maybe 88, and it's from Comico. But it's Gumby's Winter Fun, and so help me, Art Adams did the art for this, and this is really some of his best stuff. I mean, Gumby ends up saving Santa, who looks like Sean Connery, and looks like he meets the devil and all this stuff, and just wow. So yeah, there we go. See if I can give you a taste of the art there. But apparently there were two of these, so now I really need to look for the Summer Fun special of Gumby. And on the back there, it looks like you have a few things you can cut out: some dinosaurs and cave women and cavemen, and of course there's Gumby. And I remember reading Art Adams's looking at Art Adams's art in certain books during the 80s, and I think maybe one in the early 90s and stuff. And you could always kind of find where he had hidden, Pokey and Gumby and his stuff. So yeah, there you go, got that. Well, closer to getting my Cerebus run. Actually trying to get 25 or 26 to 300. If I get anything close to 1 through 25, whatever, I've got it over there in one of his phone books. But this is issue 53, The Countess and the Aardvark, and every now and then Dave Sim will write a story where it feels like he's taking a slice of life, because basically all that happens in this book is Cerebus has been writing his book. You've really got to read how he ended up here, and the Countess, bourgeois, very posh, wrote him a letter, said she'd give him, some money if he came over, and he showed up for the money, and she's really surprised because she is subtly trying to flirt with him, almost, seduce him. And of course, Cerebus is sitting there, just writing this book about his experiences being Prime Minister, the Most Holy, and stuff like that, or whatever, Pope. Oh man, I'm getting my stories mixed up. But anyway. And all of a sudden, it's a very relaxing story. They walk through the garden, they're talking about things, and then they get to this point where, this is what I'm saying about slice of life. I've actually done this in a window much like this, that I had a cushion so you could sit on it. But they're on the night sky, and she asked him a sort of a deep question about, a past love, about did he almost get married and stuff. And they don't pour their heart out, but I've had that talk, I mean, some of the stuff in Cerebus just really surprises me, of how human it can feel, real life it can feel, especially when it comes to his earlier works with male, female, talking like that and stuff. Great stuff. One step closer to having all the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossovers. Amethyst number 13. I read this, and it's of its era. It makes Amethyst's origin sort of take a dark turn. It brings in the Lords of Order and Chaos in there really heavy to make it a little bit more in tune. Even though it's a different dimension, it brings it in tune with the DC universe proper and stuff. I don't know, but it's good to have it. I'm glad I finally got to read it. This is actually one of those books I was always curious about, because I think it was Crisis on Infinite Earths number 11. Amethyst ends up, I think she's fighting some shadow demons. She played some magic. She went blind. Dr. Fate looked in her eyes and was like, "Oh my God, come with me!" And he opens a portal, and they just disappear into it, and that's where it takes place. So yeah, it's one of those. Over the years, I was like, I wonder what happened. Got a little bit of a beat up copy of Deadpool. Number 57, but it's number 1 of the Agent of Weapon X arc. Kind of a little bit of it's a Barry Windsor Smith cover, calling back to his Marvel Comics Presents story of the origin of Wolverine's adamantium, the Weapon X story there. So, don't know if I want to sell it or not. It's a Barry Windsor Smith cover. I love Barry Windsor Smith. Alright, and I'm getting another set of this. I've already got a complete set. I'm going to go ahead and tell you. There's a guy named Sir Stack on his channel, and apparently he really is going to review all 300 issues one at a time, one per video, and plus some bonus videos of places Cerebus has appeared outside of the actual Cerebus comic book, and he's going for it. You know, I think he's up in the 60s now, which is just amazing to me. I thought he was doing them one day at a time, one each day, but I think he's doing them 3 or 4 a week. But anyway, excuse me, I want to be doing it with Planetary. Like I said, I've got a full set, and I've got all 27 issues, 3 specials, and then their preview issue, and it seems like there might be something else I have, like a Planetary Authority thing. But anyway, I'm probably going to be taking these one at a time, reviewing them, or depending on the story arc, or depending on what I have to say, 2 or 3 issues per video. But we'll go for it. Fantastic, you know, series. But I ended up getting these. Number 15 brings me closer to, I think I have exactly half of the 27 issues to have a second set. And what I want to do is I want to leather bound these. This ended up being a triplicate, you know, Planetary number 13. This is the one that you could compare to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but it's not. It's more like the source material. Has a fantastic fight between Elijah Snow meeting Sherlock Holmes and having Dracula pop up. And Elijah Snow and Dracula have this fight that'll just kind of like you'll if you're a man, you're gonna flinch. We'll just leave it at that. Okay. And then this is number 7 and number 10. I don't know if those are the issues that are worth the most or whatever, but they're highly sought after. Number 7 is exploring the genre of DC's Vertigo, if you will. Really heightens back to the 80s and stuff. This is, you know, let me look at this. Cassidy has, the artist Joe Cassidy or John Cassidy has done a Dave McKean homage cover. It just shows you how versatile an artist he is and stuff. You know, so, you know, I was really got to get that. If I can get number 10, I'll be good. I don't know if I'll, and then I'm a Legion of Superheroes nut. I'm really wanting to get the entire run of the Baxter series. They're cheap, they're available. It's all about being at the right place at the right time to get them. But they came out with a 5-year after series that started around 89, where there was a Dominion War, Earth War, and you found out the Dominators were behind it. You know, I'm not going to get into it and stuff. But it's 5 years later, and the Legion has disbanded, and it's very grim and gritty. Uses 9-panel layouts like you know, the Watchmen did, and none of the heroes refer to each other. The first 12 issues, you know, there's a murder, and the Legion are getting back together. And a lot of people liked it, and a lot of people got tired of it, and they were like, let's go back to our Legion. I personally liked it, but I think the reason I was able to hang in there and, you know, enjoy it is I just knew this wasn't going to be permanent, you know, so I was able to take it for what it was. And I kind of like the Legion of Superheroes because they're their own little universe, you know. They don't really cross over a whole lot with you know, other people and stuff. And you talk about diversity in comics, they were doing it from to begin with the Legion. You know, they've been around over 50 years now, possibly coming up on 60 maybe. Got to be getting close. But anyway, with all the fans saying they were ready for the other Legion to come back and stuff, I'll go ahead and tell you they blew up the earth. And this is issue 39, and it's called Beginnings. And I feel like everything they were doing, Tom and Mary Byburn, Stuart Immonen came on, Keith Giffen was, you know, doing the art, and Stuart Immonen was coming on. And then this was also around the time they're getting ready to debut the Legionnaires, because what they found were all the Legionnaires of the Silver Age were in this cave. And they don't know if they're the genetic clones or if the adult Legion's the genetic clones. Thus, they were able to put out 2 books. Legion for the younger people, Legionnaires for everybody who wanted their, you know, light and nice Silver Age kind of feel, updated, you know, for the 90s Legion, or they could kind of carry on with this, you know. But Legion of Superheroes 39, Beginnings, symbolically blowing everything up, starting all over, 94 planets, 94 cities of the Earth are all connected, floating through space. And then we got issue 40 and 41. Here's where the Legionnaires are saying, you know, okay, it's time to get new code names and new costumes and stuff. So, you know, because, you know, they got reasons. They're in there. They talk about them. 42. Kind of following up on Triplet Girls, when Computo in the Silver Age killed one of her bodies, she became a damsel, and over the course of a Legion of Superhero Annuals in this, she ended up having her other body getting killed, and they kind of play around with that. I think this is the White Witch. We see what happened to her 5-6 years later now. You know, number 43. That's as far as I've read. So we'll just go on with this. 44. Yeah, 45. No idea who these guys are. You know, number 46, 47, very ominous cover. You know, the Dead Legionnaires. 48, my second copy of this, but it's an upgrade, and that is Mordro, who's a major sorceress, you know, sorcerer. 46, 40, oh, going up to, oh, wait, excuse me, 49, up to 50, 51, what's that doing there? Okay, and that's it for that. And then they came out with another series where I'm not quite sure how this fits in, but I think it was in the early 2000s. They had Tony Harris doing the covers. You know, all sorts of people kind of came in and wrote a little bit. But they did a Legion book that only ran for 38 issues, and that's this Tony Harris cover. But what's interesting is that this is written by Gail Simone, so she got the end of the series and stuff. And I'm closer to the 300 issues of Hellblazer. I ended up getting more copies, but apparently they were doubles. I think I got issue number 4 and 14 ended up being doubles, but these aren't doubles. I got issue number 19. These were maybe $1. All these were, I think, $1 or less. The Legion books and 2 other books I got for $10 in a lot. You know, so I think that came to like 60 cents. Hellblazer ended up paying $1 a piece. This is number 46, which is the last chapter of Garth Ennis's Dangerous Habits, which was technically the story that they kind of tapped for the Constantine movie. You know, so I'll probably jump on and read that. What have I got laying over here? Yeah, I think that's it. We're caught up and stuff. Okay. Now these are the Treasury editions that I turned around, and you know, you can't get a lot for PlayStation 2 games right now, so I got a trade. This Treasury edition is by Dan Jurgens. Alex Ross came on and painted the cover. It's Superman and the Fantastic Four, and the whole concept is Galactus is the one that ended up having Krypton blow up. Cyborg Superman pops up out of nowhere. I saw that something's happened to where Superman becomes the next Herald of Galactus or something. You know, there you go. Whatever, you know. Now going back, you know, got a little bit of a beat up copy here. It does have a rip, that's okay, but this is Jack Kirby's 2001 A Space Odyssey. It basically is a movie adaptation, a comic book adaptation by Kirby of it. Still has amazing art. I mean, it's Kirby, man. I mean, I could flip through this and show you the collages he done, some of the amazing stuff that he did. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful, you don't even know what you're looking at. And apparently, you know, this thing is, you know, kind of hard to find. I just saw Sleepy Reader and Comic Crack doing a podcast right before I started filming this where Sleepy Reader got one and he was talking about it. I'm real happy to have this, even though it's very interesting. This is the Mighty Thor, and it reprints a couple of Silver Age Jack Kirby stories. What's great about these Treasury editions is usually there's some kind of cover gallery to show you what it is. And as you'll see, it's white down here. Now I got this in Tazewell, okay? That's over from my hometown, and I haven't lived there for quite a while, over 10 years and stuff. And what is funny is that whoever decided to try to replace this corner for whatever, there's still an address on this postcard, and they are from my hometown. And I actually know what this is. This is something from King College, you know. So that's so funny because I know that street, and it's going to crack me up if I actually end up knowing who these people are, who their kid is, or something. But like I said, it reprints a couple of Jack Kirby, Stan Lee, Vince Collada, doing inks on some Thor stories. And Vince Collada is worth talking about, man, because like he's got a pretty bad reputation because he would actually erase stuff to make deadlines, pencils of the artists and stuff. And he did that with Kirby stuff on Thor, but by doing that, I don't know, man, he ended up giving Thor an entirely new feel all of its own with the lack of backgrounds and more of the character, and it made room for colors. And I don't know, man, I don't agree with, you know, somebody doing that, even if it's just the job, but I think it's a happy accident. It gives those Silver Age Thor books a feel of their own that was separate from what Marvel was doing. You know, it's one of those things, it's an aesthetic you just have to experience. Alright, got a beat up copy of this, man. This is Marvel Treasury Edition. There's no number on it. Number 9. From 1976, giant superhero team-ups, reprinting a lot of stuff from there. A lot of great It's got a great John Buscema art from Silver Surfer number 14, where Spider-Man and Silver Surfer end up meeting. I mean, I just love this stuff. Thor versus the Hulk, Daredevil versus Captain America by Gene Colan, Thing versus Submariner from who knows where, the Roy Thomas story. Looks like it's from Prince Prince Namor the Submariner number 8. Just great stuff. Daredevil number 43. It's great stuff. That one's a little beat up. Now here's one that is really beat up. But we got the All-Star Comics, DC's famous first editions in the early 70s, where they reprint the All-Star comic. That first had the Justice Society in it. And usually these are the original comics blown up. Same advertisements from when this came out in 1940, 41, whatever it was. It's just a complete reproduced comic. I love seeing these old ads in it and stuff, along with the stories that are in here and stuff. I never dawned on me, but I have never read how the first JSA story, how they got together, or whatever this is really telling you. And they would talk to the readers back then. You could be part of the Justice Society. Really cool to have that. And then right in the middle of the stack, this thing is almost in perfect condition. I mean, it's got some wear on it around the corners and stuff like that, but it's still glossy, complete, flat, square. And with the Doctor Strange movie coming out, we got number 6 of the Marvel Treasury editions with a great Frank Bruner cover that goes all the way around. Just fantastic. Frank Bruner, man. Wow. And this, of course, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 stories, and it looks like it's just all kinds of stuff. Wow. Strange Tale stories, Doctor Strange stories, just fantastic stuff. Steve Ditko, Bill Everett, Dan Atkins, Gene Colan, and Frank Bruner. And I love Frank Bruner's art, man. Look at that. In the 70s when he did that. Ditko's in there. Great to get this one. I've always seen it like in advertisements. I've never seen one in real life. But as you can see, it's Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. I believe this is an original story by Mark Grail and edited by Joe Orlando. Paul Levitz came on there. So I'm pretty sure this is, of course, is an original story, man. So this is just fantastic. I think they go back to the 20th century. It's great stuff. And this is an upgrade from the one I have. This is Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes, just a Treasury edition that DC put out. And I'm pretty sure this definitely is a bunch of reprints from the Silver Age and on up. Great stuff. All right, that's my haul, guys. Thanks for hanging in there.